Of Mozart's A major quartet, part of a set of quartets dedicated to Haydn, Beethoven said, "That's a work. That's where Mozart said to the world, 'Behold what I might have done for you if the time were right.'" It is that Mozart quartet, as well as Haydn's influence on Mozart, that inspired Beethoven's Opus 18, number 5. Beethoven's own voice is still very much the driving force, but it is undeniable that Beethoven is paying direct homage to his predecessors. Right off the bat, not only are both Mozart's and Beethoven's quartets in the same key of A major, but there are other direct similarities. Let's look at the opening phrase of each quartet. Here is Mozart's. And here is Beethoven's. Even in this tiny example, we see that Beethoven is creating an incredible sense of drama. The sforzando in the middle of the bar, the quick dynamic changes, the fragmentation of ideas. The order of the movements of Opus 18, number 5 also mimics Mozart's in that the minuet and trio, which usually occupies the place of the third movement, is put second, while a theme and variations is third. As far as Beethoven minuets and trios go, this one is quite simple, but one thing to note is that the primary melodic material of the opening, which is heard in the first violin, is not simply repeated, as it usually would be, but is repeated in the viola part. This is a subtle but undeniable reference to Haydn's use of voicing. The heart of this piece, just as in Mozart's, is the theme and variations movement. Beethoven explores multiple dimensions throughout the variations, but the theme is actually quite simple, basically just a harmonized descending scale. The final movement is an exuberant and light finale, but Beethoven takes one last chance to tip his hat to Mozart. Just as the motion of Mozart's last movement is interrupted by a slow-moving chorale, Beethoven also uses this idea. It's incredible how music progresses. Great composers are influenced by their predecessors, but ultimately find their own voice while internalizing and having deep understanding of the history of which they are a part. Mozart from Haydn, Mendelssohn and Brahms from Bach and Beethoven, and even composers today from Beethoven, Schubert, and Webern, for example. It is this interwoven history that reminds us that we can all be connected and learn from one another while still having a unique and distinct voice.